As a retired doctor with decades of experience, I've seen firsthand the devastation that aging can bring. But there's one particular ailment that I've come to understand over the years as more dangerous than many others. It's silent, insidious, and it steals something far more valuable than just strength. It steals independence. I'm talking about sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is a condition that causes the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength, a natural part of aging. But the reality is far more complex than that. By the time many people reach the age of 80, they will have lost approximately half of the muscle mass they had in their youth. Think about that. The muscles that once powered you through the day, that allowed you to play with your children, climb stairs, run errands, even pick up your grandchildren, those muscles begin to fade. The consequences of this loss are far-reaching. When muscle mass decreases, the body becomes weaker, frailer, and more vulnerable. Falls, once preventable, become inevitable. And with falls come hospitalizations. In fact, more than 300,000 elderly people are hospitalized every year due to falls caused by weak muscles. But here's the truth that so many of us overlook, and that most doctors fail to tell us. Muscle loss due to aging is not inevitable. The prevailing belief is that as we get older, it's only natural to lose muscle strength, to slow down, to need help getting out of a chair, climbing stairs, or even walking across the room. We tell ourselves that this is just part of growing old, but I'm here to tell you that it's a lie. It doesn't have to be that way. Research from leading institutions like the Journal of Physiology and Mayo Clinic has shown that some people in their 70s and 80s are stronger, more capable, and healthier than the majority of those half their age. They found ways to not only preserve their muscle mass but to enhance it. The truth is, while sarcopenia can be a challenging foe, there are secrets to combating its secrets that I've spent years studying and now want to share with you. The human body is an incredible machine, and despite the inevitable slowing down that comes with age, there are ways to fight back against this process. As a doctor, I have worked with many elderly patients, and I've seen the difference between those who fight to keep their strength and those who resign themselves to the inevitable decline. The difference isn't luck, it's knowledge, habits, and the willingness to take action. Here's something that may shock you even more. According to studies, 93% of seniors have no idea what they can do to significantly slow or even reverse the effects of sarcopenia. That's right, most people simply don't know that there are small, daily changes that can have a profound impact on their muscle strength and overall vitality. The saddest part? Most doctors never talk about these crucial habits, and patients aren't educated about them. Now, I know you might be thinking, but I'm too old for that, or it's too late for me. I hear that all the time. But I'm here to tell you, it's never too late to start. Muscle loss doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't have to define your future. Yes, the process of aging does affect our muscles, but the right habits can slow down that process, and in some cases, even reverse it. It's not about magical pills or unrealistic promises. It's about proven, scientifically backed methods that anyone can implement no matter their age. This video is about arming you with the knowledge to fight back. I'm going to take you through habits that can help you build muscle strength, preserve the muscle you still have, and ultimately regain the independence you thought you lost. These aren't just tips, they are life-changing practices that have been shown to work. And the best part? They don't require extreme diets, expensive gym memberships, or complicated equipment. Just a willingness to change a few things in your daily life. Before we dive into these transformative habits, I ask you to do one thing. Subscribe to this channel. I know you want to take charge of your health, and by subscribing, you're not just supporting this channel, you're supporting your own journey to a stronger, healthier you. Let me guide you through this process, just like I've done with so many others. I'm committed to providing you with the best information, backed by decades of medical experience. Now let's get into the first habit that's crucial for muscle preservation. One that might surprise you. This is not your typical advice. But first, let's see if you're ready for the challenge. Here's a quick question for you. Which of the following habits do you think would most help you retain muscle mass as you age? A, daily exercise routines. B, proper nutrition and muscle recovery practices. Go ahead, leave your answer in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what's worked for you, or what you think might be most effective. It's important to share, learn, and grow together, and your input could help others on the same journey. Remember, the journey to a stronger, healthier future starts now, and it all begins with knowledge and action. Let's get started. As I sit in my retirement, reflecting on my decades of medical practice, there is one prevailing truth that I have come to accept with great clarity. The aging process is not the unchangeable fate we often think it is. We are conditioned to believe that as we get older, our muscles will simply wither away, leaving us frail and dependent. I have heard it countless times from patients, family members, and even colleagues. It's just part of getting old. But as a doctor with years of experience, I can tell you with certainty that this is not the full picture, nor is it the truth. The loss of muscle mass sarcopenia is often regarded as an unavoidable part of aging. It's treated as something we must accept as our bodies inevitably slow down. However, the truth is far more nuanced. Through years of observing my patients and following the latest research, I have come to understand that sarcopenia is not a death sentence for your muscles. It is, in fact, a condition that can be slowed, halted, and even reversed with the right interventions. That is the hidden truth, and I'm here to share it with you. Let me explain what I've learned over the years. When I first began my career, I, like many doctors, believed that muscle loss in older adults was simply a natural, irreversible consequence of aging. It was just something we had to accept. But over the years, as I dug deeper into the research and observed the lives of those who seemed to defy the odds, I realized that this belief was, in fact, a myth. While the aging process does affect our muscles, it is not an irreversible fate. What I saw in my patients who were older, those in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s, was truly eye-opening. Some of them maintained strength and vitality that rivaled people half their age. They had the ability to do things that many in their 50s would struggle with, such as walking briskly, climbing stairs, and lifting heavy objects. I thought to myself, what's their secret? It certainly wasn't the common notion that aging means giving up physical function. In fact, it was the opposite. These individuals whom I now consider supergers had developed certain habits, routines, and practices that helped them preserve and even enhance their muscle strength. So what does the research say about this? Studies from prominent institutions like the Journal of Physiology and Mayo Clinic have shown that muscle atrophy due to aging can be slowed, stopped, and even reversed in some cases. And while the majority of seniors don't realize this, the truth is that there is a large body of evidence showing how certain lifestyle habits can help you maintain or even increase your muscle mass as you age. I know it's easy to dismiss this as wishful thinking. Sure, I might be able to maintain some strength, you might say, but my muscles are never going to be as strong as they were when I was younger. But I urge you to reconsider. The reality is that your muscles, just like your mind, can be trained. And the best part? It's never too late to start. The prevailing belief that muscle loss is inevitable in old age stems from a lack of understanding about how the body adapts. The muscles in our body respond to the stimuli they are given. If you don't use them, they weaken. It's that simple. But on the other hand, if you engage in physical activities, stimulate your muscles through proper exercise, and provide them with the nutrients they need, they will respond. I have witnessed this transformation time and time again. In my own practice, I've worked with elderly patients who, despite their initial frailty, began following a more active lifestyle, including resistance training, proper nutrition, and healthy habits. Over time, their muscle mass increased, their strength improved, and their overall mobility became far better than anyone expected. These individuals were able to lift themselves up from the chair, walk without assistance, and regain a level of independence that many thought was lost forever. One of the most striking examples I can recall was of a patient named Mr. Thompson, a 78-year-old man who had been struggling with weakness and a lack of energy for years. He had trouble standing up from a chair, and simple tasks like carrying groceries had become a chore. His doctor had told him that it was just part of the aging process, and that he needed to accept the fact that his body was simply slowing down. But after a few months of personalized strength training and diet adjustments, I was astonished to see how much he had improved. Mr. Thompson began to walk with more confidence. He could stand up from a chair without assistance, and his overall strength and balance dramatically improved. It was as if he had turned back the clock, and the best part? He wasn't alone. More and more, I've seen patients who were once resigned to the belief that their bodies were deteriorating take control of their health. They've learned that muscle loss is not inevitable, and with the right practices, they can reverse it. You see, this is the core of what I'm trying to say. Sarcopenia is not a death sentence for your muscles. It doesn't have to rob you of your strength or your independence. And it certainly doesn't have to define the later years of your life. The sooner you begin to embrace habits that protect and preserve your muscle strength, the better your chances of maintaining an active, vibrant, and independent life as you age. I want you to understand this clearly. Sarcopenia may be a natural part of the aging process, but it does not have to be your reality. You can actively prevent, slow, and even reverse muscle loss by implementing simple, science-backed strategies. It takes time, consistency, and patience, but it's absolutely possible. And here's the best part, you're not alone in this. You don't have to navigate this journey by yourself. With the right guidance, you can take steps every day to build and preserve your muscle mass. Together, we can create a plan that works for you, no matter how old you are. I know it can be hard to change the way you think about aging, but I'm asking you to take a leap of faith. Think about how you want to feel in 10, 20, or even 30 years from now. Do you want to be a frail, dependent individual? Or do you want to be someone who stands tall, moves with confidence, and enjoys life to the fullest? The choice is yours. It's never too late to start, and the earlier you begin, the more you'll benefit. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about this and whether you've already started taking steps to preserve your muscle strength. Remember, the journey to a healthier, stronger you begins with the decision to take action. Together, we can fight back against the effects of aging. Let's start now. As a retired doctor who has spent decades studying the human body and its aging process, I can tell you without hesitation, the key to longevity and maintaining muscle strength is not a complex secret hidden in a laboratory or an obscure medical textbook. The secrets are simple, accessible, and often overlooked by many, including my own patients. Throughout my career, I have witnessed firsthand how small, consistent habits built over time can make a profound difference in one's ability to preserve muscle strength, vitality, and independence well into old age. When I began my medical journey, much of what I learned about aging centered around the inevitable decline of the body. Like most people, I thought that aging simply meant accepting the gradual loss of strength and independence. But as I worked with countless elderly patients, I quickly realized that many of the physical declines associated with aging, especially muscle loss, could be managed, slowed, or even reversed by adopting certain habits. These habits are not difficult to implement, but they require a shift in mindset, one that focuses on empowering the body rather than surrendering to the idea of inevitable decline. The first habit, one that I've seen make the most profound difference in preserving muscle strength, is hormetic stress. Now, let me explain what I mean by this. Hormesis refers to the concept of subjecting the body to mild stressors that, while potentially harmful at high doses, actually have beneficial effects when applied in smaller, controlled amounts. Think of it like this. The same heat that can burn you when exposed for too long can also help stimulate your muscles and activate important cellular processes that contribute to muscle health when applied in short bursts. For example, many of the individuals I have worked with, those who've remained remarkably strong well into their 80s, swear by regular exposure to temperature extremes. This may sound a bit extreme, but it's a proven method. The use of saunas and cold plunges has been shown to activate heat shock proteins, which protect muscle cells and promote muscle growth. In fact, research from Finland indicates that regular sauna use can reduce muscle loss by as much as 40% when compared to those who don't regularly engage in sauna therapy. Likewise, brief cold exposures, such as taking a cold shower at the end of your regular hot shower or submerging your body in cold water for a few seconds, can activate brown fat and help maintain muscle mass. These stressors, when done correctly, trigger the body's cellular defense mechanisms, resulting in stronger muscles and greater overall resilience. I have seen patients who were once frail begin to regain their strength by adopting these techniques. The key is to start slow, ease into it, and allow your body to adapt over time. It may seem uncomfortable at first, but the benefits to your muscle health are undeniable. But it's not just about subjecting your body to extreme temperatures. The second habit I found to be invaluable is protein timing. As a doctor, I've often advised patients on the importance of protein in their diets, particularly as they age. However, it's not just the amount of protein you consume that matters, it's when and how you consume it. Most seniors make the mistake of consuming the bulk of their protein in a single meal, usually dinner. But recent studies have shown that the body is much more effective at using protein when it is spread out throughout the day. This concept is based on a phenomenon known as anabolic resistance, which occurs as we age. In simple terms, the body becomes less efficient at utilizing protein to build and maintain muscle. However, research in the Journal of Nutrition has revealed that by consuming around 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at each meal, seniors can significantly increase muscle protein synthesis. This means that eating smaller amounts of protein more frequently throughout the day rather than in one large meal helps the body build muscle more effectively. I have personally witnessed patients who, after adopting this approach, not only improved their muscle mass but also regained energy and vitality. Replacing a sugary cereal or toast with eggs, Greek yogurt, or a protein smoothie in the morning can make a world of difference. This is a simple change, but its impact on preserving muscle strength cannot be overstated. The third essential habit I've seen make a significant impact is vitamin D optimization. I cannot emphasize this enough. Vitamin D is not just essential for bone health. It plays a crucial role in muscle function as well. The majority of older adults are deficient in vitamin D, and this deficiency directly contributes to muscle weakness, poor balance, and an increased risk of falls. Research conducted at Harvard University has shown that individuals with optimal vitamin D levels have greater muscle strength, better coordination, and improved reaction times. Unfortunately, vitamin D deficiency is incredibly common among seniors. As we age, our skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D from sunlight, and this issue worsens as we age further. The typical recommended daily intake of 600 IU is insufficient for most seniors. In my practice, I have found that many of my patients require between 2,000 and 4,000 IU of vitamin D daily to maintain optimal levels. While sun exposure is beneficial, it is often not enough for older adults, which is why supplementation is often necessary. When advising patients on how to increase their vitamin D intake, I also recommend foods rich in this essential vitamin, such as fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified dairy. But for many, supplements are necessary to achieve optimal levels. It's worth getting your blood tested to determine your current levels, and from there, your doctor can help guide you toward the proper dosage. I've seen firsthand how correcting vitamin D deficiency can transform a person's muscle strength and overall mobility. Finally, the last habit I'll mention here is managing inflammation. This is perhaps the most overlooked aspect of maintaining muscle health in older age. Chronic low-grade inflammation, known as inflammaging, has been identified as a key factor in muscle deterioration. The body's natural inflammatory response can damage muscle tissue faster than it can repair it, and this process accelerates as we age. One of the most powerful tools in combating inflammation is ensuring you get enough sleep. As a doctor, I cannot stress enough how essential proper rest is for the body's healing and muscle-building processes. Lack of sleep increases inflammatory markers in the body, making muscle recovery slower and more difficult. By improving sleep hygiene, such as establishing a consistent bedtime, sleeping in a dark and quiet room, and avoiding electronics before bed, you can significantly reduce inflammation and promote muscle repair. Additionally, incorporating anti-inflammatory foods into your diet can make a world of difference. Omega-3 fatty acids found in fatty fish like salmon are incredibly effective at reducing inflammation. Turmeric, a spice I've recommended to many of my patients, contains curcumin, which also has powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Green tea, berries, and extra virgin olive oil are other foods that can help combat inflammation and protect your muscles from breakdown. So what's the bottom line here? The secret to longevity and preserving muscle strength as we age lies in adopting these habits: hormetic stress, protein timing, vitamin D optimization, and managing inflammation. They're simple, accessible, and based on solid science. And while they may seem like small changes, their impact on your muscle strength and overall health can be profound. The best part is it's never too late to start. By making these habits part of your daily routine, you can fight back against muscle loss and maintain the strength and independence you deserve as you grow older. As I look back on my career, it's these simple yet powerful habits that I wish I had emphasized more to my patients. I'm sharing them with you now because I want you to understand that muscle loss isn't inevitable. The ability to preserve your strength, stay active, and enjoy your later years with vitality is within your reach. All it takes is the right mindset and the willingness to take action. Let's make that commitment today. As a retired doctor with a lifetime of experience, I've witnessed countless patients come and go, each with their own unique struggles. But there is one common thread that I've seen run through nearly all of them, especially in the elderly: inflammation. Inflammation is often a silent force, gradual, insidious, and unrecognized by many. It's one of the most significant contributors to muscle loss and frailty as we age, yet it's one of the most overlooked. When I began my practice decades ago, the link between chronic inflammation and muscle loss wasn't as widely understood as it is today. I remember advising many of my patients who complained of feeling weaker as they grew older that it was just a natural part of aging. But over time, as I saw more and more patients losing their strength despite their best efforts, I began to question that assumption. It was only then that I truly understood how much inflammation contributes to muscle degradation and how it accelerates the process of aging. Now, when I reflect on my years in practice, I see that one of the most powerful factors in maintaining muscle health is managing inflammation. As we age, our bodies naturally begin to experience low-grade chronic inflammation, a condition known as inflammaging. This subtle but persistent inflammation can quietly erode muscle tissue, making it harder for your body to repair and regenerate muscles after exercise. Over time, this means less muscle mass, slower recovery, and an increased risk of injury. Inflammation is a natural immune response, meant to protect the body from injury or infection. But in the case of chronic, low-level inflammation, the body's defenses are on overdrive without any real threat to fight. Instead of being a protective mechanism, inflammation begins to break down healthy tissue, including muscle. In fact, I've seen firsthand how inflammation can actually impair muscle protein synthesis, the very process your body uses to build and repair muscle. This makes it more difficult for your body to retain strength, no matter how much exercise or protein you consume. What I've learned throughout my career, especially as a doctor working with seniors, is that managing this inflammation is critical to preserving muscle health and overall vitality. Inflammation not only disrupts muscle function but also plays a central role in a wide array of age-related diseases, from heart disease to cognitive decline. It's a vicious cycle. Inflammation leads to muscle loss, and muscle loss further intensifies inflammation. Breaking this cycle is key to maintaining your strength as you age, and it's something that anyone at any age can actively manage. I want to share with you some of the most effective strategies I have recommended to my patients over the years to help manage inflammation. The good news is that many of these habits are simple, natural, and accessible to everyone. You don't need expensive treatments or medications to start combating inflammation. What's more important is adopting a lifestyle that actively supports reducing this inflammation over time. The first and most powerful weapon we have in managing inflammation is sleep. I can't stress this enough. During my years in practice, I saw so many elderly patients who were unable to get a good night's sleep due to pain, stress, or simply poor sleep habits. What most people don't realize is that sleep is the body's natural repair system. When you sleep, your body undergoes processes that reduce inflammation and promote muscle recovery. Chronic sleep deprivation, on the other hand, increases inflammation by elevating pro-inflammatory markers in the body, making muscle maintenance and recovery much more difficult. I always advise my patients to aim for a consistent sleep schedule. Going to bed at the same time each night and ensuring your sleep environment is dark and quiet can work wonders. I also recommended avoiding caffeine and screen time before bed, as these can disrupt your body's natural circadian rhythm. For many of my older patients, improving their sleep habits had an almost immediate impact on their ability to recover from exercise, retain muscle mass, and manage overall inflammation. The next powerful tool in managing inflammation is diet. As I got older and saw more research on the subject, I realized that what we eat plays an enormous role in how much inflammation we carry in our bodies. For example, foods that are rich in antioxidants, like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, can help reduce the oxidative stress that triggers inflammation. I often advise my patients to eat a variety of plant-based foods each week. Aim for 30 different plant foods a week, including leafy greens, berries, and beans. These foods are rich in compounds that help the body fight oxidative stress and keep inflammation in check. But it's not just about what to eat, it's also about what to avoid. Processed foods, sugar, and refined carbohydrates are some of the biggest culprits in fueling inflammation. I found that many of my patients who struggled with weight and inflammation had diets high in these foods. In fact, research has shown that diets high in sugar and refined grains can elevate inflammation markers in the body. This is why I always recommended reducing the intake of sugary snacks, sodas, and processed meats. One particularly effective anti-inflammatory food that I often suggested was omega-3 fatty acids. These healthy fats, found in fatty fish like salmon and mackerel, are well known for their ability to reduce inflammation. Omega-3 South can also support muscle health by improving blood flow to muscle tissue, which aids in recovery. For those who don't eat fish, I recommended flax seeds, chia seeds, or even fish oil supplements to get the necessary omega-3 South. Another potent anti-inflammatory food is turmeric. You've likely heard of this spice, but its powerful anti-inflammatory properties cannot be overstated. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has been shown in numerous studies to reduce inflammation and even help prevent the breakdown of muscle tissue. In my practice, I suggested turmeric supplements to many of my patients, especially those with chronic pain or arthritis. It can be as simple as adding turmeric to your meals, or even enjoying a cup of turmeric tea in the evening. Finally, exercise is essential in the fight against inflammation. I know that might sound counterintuitive after all. Doesn't exercise cause inflammation? The answer is yes and no. Intense, prolonged exercise can indeed create temporary inflammation, but the right kind of exercise, especially moderate intensity, regular movement, can help reduce long-term inflammation. I recommended that my patients engage in moderate exercise, such as walking, swimming, or yoga, at least 3 to 4 times a week. These exercises not only help maintain muscle mass, but also improve circulation, reduce oxidative stress, and lower inflammatory markers in the body. But, as always, balance is key. Over-exercising can cause muscle breakdown and increase inflammation, so it's important to listen to your body and allow for proper recovery. In my experience, seniors who incorporated regular, moderate exercise into their routines were able to manage their inflammation more effectively and maintain better muscle function. In conclusion, inflammation is a major factor in muscle loss as we age, but it is not something we are helpless against. Through better sleep, smarter dietary choices, and regular moderate exercise, you can manage and even reduce inflammation, helping to preserve your muscle strength and overall vitality. It's a process that requires consistency, but the rewards improved health, better mobility, and increased quality of life are well worth the effort. If you found this information helpful, consider subscribing to this channel for more tips on how to stay strong, healthy, and independent as you age. And if you have any thoughts or experiences to share on managing inflammation, I'd love to hear them. Feel free to comment below and join the conversation. Your insights could help someone else on their journey to better health. As a doctor who has spent decades working with elderly patients, I've come to understand one of the most crucial aspects of muscle maintenance that often goes unnoticed: neuromuscular connections. These connections, the pathways that transmit signals from your brain to your muscles, are essential for muscle function, strength, and overall physical coordination. However, as we age, these connections tend to weaken. The result is not just the loss of muscle mass, but a significant decline in your ability to control your movements. And that, my dear friends, is where the real danger lies. When I was first starting out my practice, I often saw patients who, despite regular exercise and a healthy diet, still seemed to be losing their strength and coordination. They would complain of feeling weak, not because they had lost muscle mass necessarily, but because they simply couldn't control their muscles the way they once could. The problem wasn't just the muscles. It was the breakdown in communication between the brain and the muscles, the neuromuscular connection. The relationship between the brain and the muscles is far more complex than most people realize. Muscles are not simply passive responders to exercise. They rely on a constant flow of signals from the brain to function properly. When those signals diminish or become less effective, our muscles become less responsive, weaker, and more prone to injury. This is why many older adults, even those who maintain muscle mass, experience issues with balance, coordination, and overall strength. One of the most surprising discoveries I made in my later years as a doctor was that neuromuscular degeneration doesn't happen in isolation. It's not just the muscles that weaken. The neural pathways that connect your brain to your muscles also deteriorate. This process, if not addressed, can lead to a vicious cycle. As the neuromuscular connections weaken, the muscles become less active, which further degrades the signals from the brain. Over time, this can result in significant muscle weakness and an increased risk of falls and injuries. I can recall one patient, Mrs. Stevens, who came to me at the age of 75. She was otherwise healthy, with no major medical conditions, but she felt that her legs had become wobbly. She had always been an active woman, regularly walking, gardening, and doing yoga. Yet she found herself unable to stand up from a chair without assistance, and walking was becoming increasingly difficult. After examining her, I realized that her muscles were still strong, but her neuromuscular connections had started to degrade. The brain was sending signals to the muscles, but they weren't being received properly. Her brain wasn't able to activate her leg muscles efficiently. It was in moments like these that I began to fully appreciate the importance of neuromuscular connections. Strength isn't just about how much muscle mass you have. It's about how effectively your brain communicates with those muscles. If the neural pathways aren't functioning optimally, no amount of exercise or protein intake will be enough to preserve muscle function. That's why it's crucial to not only focus on building muscle mass but also on maintaining and strengthening the communication between the brain and muscles. Fortunately, research has shown that it's never too late to improve neuromuscular function. And in my experience, the sooner you start working on strengthening those connections, the better the results. The first step, and one of the most effective ways to do this, is through coordination-based exercises. These exercises are specifically designed to enhance the brain's ability to send precise signals to the muscles. I often recommended activities like Tai Chi, dancing, and ping pong to my patients. These exercises require the brain to coordinate complex movements and recruit different muscle groups in a synchronized manner. In fact, studies have shown that activities that involve coordination can significantly improve the brain's ability to communicate with muscles, even in older adults. One fascinating study I came across revealed that seniors who participated in coordination-demanding activities twice a week saw a 31% improvement in their neuromuscular function compared to those who only performed traditional strength training. Why does this work? The answer lies in the brain's plasticity, the ability to form new neural connections throughout life. Just as you can train your muscles to become stronger, you can also train your brain to better activate and communicate with those muscles. By engaging in exercises that challenge your coordination, you are essentially retraining your brain to communicate with your muscles more effectively. This, in turn, leads to greater muscle control, improved balance, and a reduced risk of falls. Another essential component in maintaining neuromuscular connections is mental stimulation. The brain and muscles are closely linked, and just as physical exercise strengthens muscles, mental exercise strengthens the brain's ability to control those muscles. Activities like puzzles, reading, and even learning a new skill can help keep the brain sharp and improve its ability to communicate with the body. I have always encouraged my patients to challenge their minds just as much as they challenge their bodies. One example that stands out to me is Mr. Williams, a 70-year-old patient who had been struggling with his balance and coordination. Despite his regular exercise routine, he wasn't seeing the improvements he expected. We decided to add mental exercises to his routine, things like memory games and even learning to play a musical instrument. The results were remarkable. Not only did his mental sharpness improve, but his ability to control his movements and maintain balance also showed significant progress. The most surprising part of all of this is that strengthening neuromuscular connections doesn't require intense, high-impact exercise. In fact, gentle coordination exercises combined with mental stimulation can be just as effective, if not more so, than traditional strength training. These exercises help the brain form new pathways that make muscle activation more efficient, leading to better muscle control and ultimately, stronger muscles. The key takeaway here is that building and maintaining neuromuscular connections is not just for the young or the highly active. It's something that can benefit all of us, regardless of age. By focusing on activities that improve coordination, challenge the brain, and promote healthy neural pathways, you can significantly enhance your muscle strength and function as you age. As I reflect on my years of practice, I can't help but wish I had emphasized this aspect of muscle maintenance more often to my patients. It's not just about lifting weights or eating protein, it's about ensuring that your brain can effectively communicate with your muscles. The more you work on maintaining those connections, the stronger and more independent you will be as you age. The good news is, you don't need to wait. Start working on your neuromuscular function today. Engage in coordination exercises, challenge your mind, and keep your body active. Your muscles and your brain will thank you for it. And remember, it's never too late to begin. Even small, consistent efforts can yield significant improvements in the way you move, feel, and live. As always, I encourage you to take control of your health. Incorporate these habits into your daily life and let me know how they work for you. Together, we can maintain not only muscle strength, but also the vitality and independence that so many believe are lost with age. So I leave you with this. How much are you willing to work on your body's connection to your muscles? The choice is yours. As we reach the later years of life, it's easy to resign ourselves to the belief that our bodies are no longer capable of the strength and vitality they once had. We often hear phrases like aging gracefully or accepting the inevitable decline, but I want to challenge those notions. With the right knowledge, effort, and commitment, aging does not have to mean losing our strength. Instead, it can be an opportunity to grow stronger, to preserve our independence, and to embrace a future full of possibility. From the moment we start aging, our bodies undergo significant changes. Muscle mass decreases, bones become more fragile, and our energy levels dip. But these physical changes are not necessarily permanent. In fact, as we've discussed, there are several habits and practices that can slow down or even reverse these effects. Whether it's through maintaining our neuromuscular connections, managing inflammation, optimizing nutrition, or applying stressors like hormesis, we have the ability to maintain muscle strength well into our golden years. The most important takeaway from this discussion is that muscle loss is not inevitable. Sarcopenia, while a common condition among older adults, is not something we have to accept without a fight. We can take proactive steps every day to preserve and even build muscle strength. Whether it's by engaging in activities that enhance coordination, using nutrition to fuel muscle growth, or practicing small lifestyle changes that promote recovery, the power to change is in our hands. I've seen firsthand, through the patients I've worked with over the years, how adopting these practices can lead to life-changing results. I've witnessed patients regain their independence, improve their mobility, and even defy the limitations they once thought were irreversible. These habits don't require advanced technology or expensive treatments. They only require the willingness to take small, consistent actions each day. What I want you to remember is this: muscle health is not just about how much you can lift. It's about how you take care of your body in every aspect of your life. It's about choosing to prioritize movement, choosing to nourish your body, and choosing to keep pushing your limits, not in a reckless way, but with care and respect for what your body can do at every stage of life. It's also important to realize that the power of small actions cannot be overstated. Starting with simple steps, such as improving sleep quality, managing inflammation through diet, or incorporating coordination exercises into your routine, can yield remarkable benefits. It's not about doing everything perfectly, it's about making consistent progress over time. These habits may seem small at first, but over the course of months and years, their cumulative effect will have a profound impact on your strength, your independence, and your overall quality of life. As you begin to apply these habits in your own life, I encourage you to approach the process with patience and consistency. Change takes time, but the results are well worth it. There will be days when it feels like you're not making progress, and there may be moments when you're tempted to give up. But remember, every small effort counts, and each day you continue practicing these habits, you are investing in a stronger, more independent future. So what can you do today? Start by choosing one of the practices we discussed. Maybe you'll focus on managing inflammation, or you'll begin adding coordination exercises to your routine. Whatever it is, take that first step. Commit to it for a week, then a month, and see how it transforms your life. Your future self will thank you for it. In the end, the most important lesson is this: you are never too old to take control of your health. Whether you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, there is always an opportunity to improve your strength, mobility, and overall well-being. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. I'd love to hear from you now. Which of these practices are you most excited to implement into your life? Is it managing inflammation through diet, focusing on coordination exercises, or improving your nutrition for better muscle health? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts with the community. Your insights and experiences could inspire others to take action and transform their lives as well. Finally, if you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us keep making valuable content like this, and even a small donation can go a long way in supporting the creation of more helpful and informative videos. As someone who's dedicated to making a positive impact on society, I can assure you that your support, whether big or small, keeps this channel going and encourages me to continue sharing the knowledge I've gained over a lifetime. Let's keep learning together and let's keep growing stronger, no matter our age. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments below.